Hi everyone, I'm Brooke and this is Acres. This weekend I am doing a DIY drip system for the new garden beds. This is the first time I've ever done any irrigation of any kind. I mean, aside from, setting up a above ground sprinkler to do grass, this is the first time I've ever done any type of in-ground irrigation. There's not a whole lot of in-ground irrigation to be had with this system. It's just between the beds. I'm going to be trenching and burying the lines so that it's not out in the open, but that is still a big deal for me. I will be using a 1/2 inch main line that I use connector barbs to connect to a 1/4 inch line, and then those connect to the various drip irrigation heads. I have a variety of heads on this system. Most of them are 0.5 gallons per hour. Some of them are 1 to 2 gallons per hour. And then I do have a couple of sprinklers for the trees as well. It was a little bit intimidating to do the calculations for this system because I looked up how you're supposed to calculate gallons per minute versus your flow rate versus what all the different plants need, because some plants like my willows really need a lot of water. The dappled willow and the blue Arctic willow drink up water. So does the river birch, but that is on a sprinkler, a few different sprinkler heads, so that's not quite the same calculation. But other things like my Russian sage, my denim and lace Russian sage, don't like a whole lot of water. So I need to make sure that I'm doing the appropriate amount of water for each system. When I did the calculation for this system, it fit well within the flow rate of our very low flow rate, which is only 8.3 gallons per minute. Yeah, it's really low. We've talked to our water board about this and it's a known issue. So our neighborhood is shaped like a U. You have a street coming in here and a street coming in here, and then we live on this back street where my thumbs are at. These two lines are 6-inch lines that supply those houses. This line is either a 2-inch or a 4-inch, so it's much more reduced in capacity. The other thing that we might be encountering is we thought that we had cast iron pipes coming into the house, but the water board person that we spoke to said we should dig a little bit more because legally in the time that this was built back in the 60s, I believe, they only had to have the cast iron pipes extend 5 feet out. So everything past that might be galvanized steel and it might be pinched or crushed. So we need to investigate that. Long term, what we will be doing is we have an irrigation well out back. We need to get a new pump to get that running and going. It was never working when we bought the place, but we do know it exists and we would like to use that for our irrigation water just because it's a little bit less susceptible to the neighborhood. So currently, if we have a neighbor who's filling up his pool for his kids, we can't run a sprinkler. Like our sprinkler stops working. It doesn't have enough pressure to do the return. So it's a neighborhood-wide issue, at least on our street. So it's something that we plan to combat long-term just by going to the irrigation well out back. With that said, this system that I am installing today is well within the low parameters of our current house flow rate. I had originally designed a sprinkler system when I was going to do grass in the pathways. I've changed my mind, surprise! But now I'm going to be doing natural stones as stepping stones and then creeping time in between those, and I think it's gonna look really pretty. I'm so excited. But first I have to do the drip irrigation because I do have to dig across the pathways, and I definitely don't want to spend the energy and time to set that stone and then have to pull them back up. I already have to do that with some of these stones, but I have no problem with that because in order to understand what my beds look like, I needed the stones there. The long wood chips only went so far. So thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoy it, or you at least find it entertaining as I try to embark on my first DIY irrigation project. I am sure it is one of many. The first thing I need to do is dig up our current water box that's in the garden. That water box is currently connected to the irrigation well, so it does not work. It doesn't have a working water supply. But long term, we will be connecting into that because we want to connect into the irrigation well out back. We are going to run all the lines into that box and allow it to be the central hub. And then in the short term, we will just be connecting a hose that runs from the house line to the irrigation line that's out there, and that will be how we handle it until we get the irrigation well working. So let's go check out that box really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the irrigation box that I was referring to. We need to dig it out because while we were redoing this space, we accidentally shoved the extenders that are on top off of the actual box that's down below. We also might want to be widening it a little bit because we'll have a lot more irrigation coming through here. So I'm going to dig this up first and see what we're working with, and then probably right it a little bit and then go from there. Let's get started. Let's go. This is the very reason I didn't plant this or that penstemon yet, just because I knew I'd be working in this area, and perhaps I shouldn't have planted this W. I'll just say W. Weigela, Weigela. Google says I believe it's Weigela.
Weigela.
But when I pronounced it that way in one of my very first videos, someone left a comment and said I couldn't even continue watching your video. You don't pronounce it correctly. And I was like, oh my gosh. And in real life, in person, I have heard it pronounced genuinely like 3 or 4 different ways. And I don't know if there's an actual consensus. It's kind of a interesting word. So I just kind of laughed off the comment and was like, well, sorry, dude. Or madam, sorry. Sorry you were so disturbed by my pronunciation. Okay, so I have dug down to the middle riser. There are 2 risers on this. It's a 12-inch box down below with 2 6-inch risers on top of it. And we can now fit this top riser carefully back on, and it will be a little more secure and lined up. Ta-da! But we're gonna leave it off for right now. The reason we're leaving it off is we will be connecting the water lines, the drip irrigation lines, through this second riser. We'll be drilling a hole in for each of the 3 lines that we'll be running. And we're gonna do that down here. So I'm only going to bury them about 6 inches when they're crossing through the pathways. I might go down a little bit more. Ian wants 6 inches, but I much prefer a little bit deeper just in case. But in the beds, they'll just be underneath the mulch, which our mulch is kind of light right now, so we might be able to see the black tubing, which I'm not a big fan of, but long term that won't be an issue. So I'm gonna leave that second riser off, and I'm going to start digging my way up so that the lines are able to run in from here. So I will be bringing them up here. They will be underneath the mulch. One will run this way and go halfway through this bed and then into the other bed. The other one, two will run in a slight J shape and go that way. One will run across to that bed on the other side, and the next one will run to the east bed where the gazebo will be. This might have been a bad idea. So I think for this first line, I'm going to go that way towards the entry bed and the rose bed, and we'll work through it that way. So I'm gonna want at least a foot of hose, if not a little bit more, in the box. So I'm going to just plan on that by placing this in this location and kind of trapping it there. This one, like I said, will be going out this way and into that bed. Oh no, it's a casualty, and it's a pretty casualty too. Oh, I'm sad. I need my stakes. To secure these down, I'm just using standard stakes. I got these at Home Depot. So this will be the stone I remove and then dig out. The pathways have already gotten quite compact. expected. They do make, just for your edification, trenching shovels, which Ian suggested we buy. And I saw it was $35 and I thought, good Lord, I'm not paying $35 for a shovel he'll use for one job. Instead, I'm just using our regular shovel, which I may come to view ultimately as a mistake, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. Shouldn't have done that until the system is like all up and running. All that. Oh well. It's the first time mistake. First timer's mistake. Classic. I don't know if it would have been easier had I left it coiled up, but it's definitely not easier with it uncoiled. So I'll just let you make that decision if you're gonna do drip irrigation. I don't know. I don't have advice because I didn't leave one coiled and one uncoiled and then worked with both to see which would be easier. But so far, it is kind of a work with. That just crushed my fuchsia. Trenching shovel. This sucks. Because the roses aren't being transferred until fall and they won't need irrigation at that time, we're just gonna leave it coiled up. We'll crimp the end so that it has an end to the circuit, but we are just gonna leave it coiled up, and I will do this bed next spring when the fig is out and the fence is out and I can finish the bed border as well. One down, two more to go. So Ian wanted me to leave more hose this time. Oops. So I will leave more hose. Doing things all myself is both very liberating and I feel very proud of what I'm doing. At the same time, I have no one to blame but myself if things don't work. So that's a little nerve-wracking. I'm also getting the reverse watch tan. Like I'm getting tan just in this little strip, so I keep trying to cover my wrists a little. Stepping on one? Did I pull one out of the ground? I thought there was another. Oh, it's right here. I most definitely pulled it out of the ground. This is the sweet alyssum that I, in my garden tour, mentioned was on its way out. And it's definitely on its way out now, I'll tell you that much. Whoops, whoopsie poopsie, I muffed it up again. There was a SNL skit with, what was that? Emily Blunt and one of the SNL cast members, and they were ladies of the night, we'll say. They were ladies of the night. And Emily Blunt was a lady of the night who always said, whoopsie poopsie, I messed it up again. Or muffed it up again. I muffed it up again. And the SNL woman had to drink milk, I think, in like obscene quantities all the time. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Resident Hummingbird. You're just following me around the garden, aren't you? You're adorable. We have a tamper. I just don't feel like going to get it and using it. For this particular trench, I will be trenching slightly deeper because I'll be putting a conduit line in here. Eventually, the drip line irrigation will be run from a controller that's in the potting shed, but that is not going to be the case for another couple of years. But I want to put the conduit in now so that it's not really an issue. So I'll actually run the water line from here over to here. So we are burying this conduit now so that we don't have to tear everything up to add the drip irrigation system to a controller in the potting shed in the future. We can just put it through the existing conduit and we'll put a little string through there so that we can easily pull it through in the future. I'm actually being unwise in where I'm putting my dirt because I'll be doing the conduit and drip line through here. It's amazing to me, all this work, you know, we put so much work into making everything level and nice, and then I'm kind of digging it all up anyway. You know, at this point, I'm starting to second guess the lack of a trenching shovel, but we're committed, you know? We're here now. I was wondering if like a pick would be easier, but I hate that motion. It always makes me sore over the head, bringing it down. Motion just makes me so much more sore than a shovel. What are we at for depth? This is the kind of fun stuff that you find on this property. I'm digging down about a foot for the conduit, and this is blacktop that was buried by previous owners over here. So apparently I hit a vein of blacktop from when they did the driveway over on the north side. And so that's what I'm using this pickaxe to dig through. Fun times. This day has gone a little bit sideways. It started out pretty strong. I got a lot of the drip tubing in, not the 1/4 inch, but the 1/2 inch. And I was feeling pretty darn good about myself. And then about 2 o'clock, Ian and I were eating lunch and he looked out the window and he went, I don't think that drip tubing is going to be able to withstand the pressure of the tractor driving over it in the 6-foot driveway. And I think it's gonna collapse and then you're gonna have to dig it up and it will be under stones and plants and all that. And I got so grouchy. Not at him, but at the situation because he was right. So the new plan, I went to Home Depot. I've gone to Home Depot way too many times in the last 36 hours. So I don't ever want to have to go again. No offense to Home Depot. I'm really grateful that they have what I need, but I just don't want to have to go so many times in a 36-hour period. The new plan is I am going to replace, I bought PVC pipe, 1/2-inch PVC pipe, and I will replace the sections that are in the pathways, not just the 6-foot pathway, but all pathways. Because when I was thinking about it, I thought, you know, I just never really want to have to dig this up. If I can avoid it, I just don't want to. So we're going to replace all of the pathway pipes, the 4-foot pathway, the 2.5-foot pathway, the 6-foot pathway, all of those trenches that I dug. We're going to replace the pipes in there with the PVC pipe rather than the drip line, the 1/2-inch drip line. So that is what I'm going to be doing now. I will be cutting the PVC pipe to size, and then I have to glue the adapter on. So the adapter between the 1/2-inch drip line poly pipe or polyurethane pipe or plastic, I don't know, it's a plastic pipe. But the connector between the drip line, 1/2-inch drip line pipe and the 1/2-inch PVC pipe has to be glued on the PVC end. So it's just a compression fitting on the drip line end, but on the PVC end it has to be glued. So I will be cutting and gluing these sections and just cursing today, but being grateful that long term I won't have to deal with this again, hopefully, in my lifetime.
Okay, so primer first.
You should wear gloves. That's not good stuff. Oh God, it's messy and stinky.
Okay, so
Spoobity boo.
twirl in the fitting.
Yep. What does this do?
It makes the pipe glue work better. That to the depth of the fitting socket, which I'm
Whew, that's stinky.
And then you do the fitting again. Glue, you do the opposite. So you do the pipe first, very liberally, and then you do a little bit on the inside of the fitting, and then you do the pipe again, and then as you push them together, you give them just a little twist, and then you hold it for a second.
How long before that glue does not attach to me?
Crawl space.
First one done, 100 more to go. Compression couplings suck. And I'll be leaving these unburied so that when we run the system the first time we can see if there's any leaks. So for now, I get to have this beautiful masterpiece in my walkway. Day 3, let's go. It works. The drip system I designed and installed works. Check this out. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me on this project. It turned into an absolute bear, way more than I expected. I knew I should have suspected it would be harder than I thought, because on the first night that I started it on a Friday evening after work. I said to Ian, gosh, this is so easy. Why don't more people do it? That should have been my first clue that it was all gonna go sideways. So it went sideways, but I persevered, and it's been absolutely phenomenal to have it work. I'm so excited. Now all I have to do is flip a switch and it works. And eventually it will just be on a controlled timer in the potting shed. So this is huge. It allows us to go visit family for extended periods of time and not have to worry about all of our plants dying. So really excited about this. And I'm so glad that you could come with me and be a part of this project because it really does make it a little bit better. In some ways, filming makes it a little bit harder because you have to think about angles and moving the camera and turning it on. And in other ways, it makes it a little bit better because you get to see all the work you did. So I was editing this video together and I got to watch the progression and be like, oh, that is so amazing. I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. But it's amazing that I did that. It's just, it blows my mind and I'm so excited and I really appreciate you coming on this journey with me. I did not clearly video all of the project. I didn't video most of the 1/4 inch tubing going in just because I was so pressed for time. I really wanted to get this in. We're in the 90s right now and about 50% humidity, so it's just kind of oppressive and gross to work in, to be quite honest. And so I just wanted to get it done. So you didn't get to see as much of the 1/4 inch drip tubing finishing touches that I wanted to show you initially, but it did all get in. I got all of the underground PVC pipes in and I am so thrilled with the end result and it works. It works so well. I'm so excited and I just can't believe that it's done. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button down below, subscribe. If you want to be notified about new videos, go ahead and hit that bell notification as well. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye! Drip irrigation tubing is not my favorite. Okay. This is kind of nuts. This is like the world's most unwieldy hose. So I have not enjoyed that aspect. This tubing sucks. It all sucks because it's hard to work with. An Irish jig over an idea that didn't come to fruition. Oops. See, do things back-asswards. Get it? Back-asswards, not ass backwards. Yeah. I'm so funny. Okay. I'm working on irrigation. I don't think class is really the name of the game here.